Let's talk Tanya for the 22nd of Kislev. So, we finished all the front matter of the book of Tanya. We did the title page, we did the approbations, we did the author's foreword, and now we're ready to actually start chapter 1 of Tanya. Now, the book of Tanya is commonly known as Tanya, but that's not actually the name that the Alter Rebbe, the author, gave to the work. Tanya is the first word of the first chapter, and that has become accepted as the name. But the Alter Rebbe, he called Tanya Likutei Amarim, as we've mentioned, which means a collection of sayings. But that is the name of the entire Tanya, the entire work. And actually, Tanya has 5 different sections to it. And the first one, it is called Sefer Shel Beinonim. It is the book of the Beinoni. So it is Likutei Amarim, but the first part of Likutei Amarim is called Sefer Shel Beinonim, which means the book of the Beinoni. A Beinoni translates literally as an intermediate. In the works of the sages, we have described 3 people. There's the tzaddik, commonly translated as the righteous person. There is the rasha, commonly translated as the wicked person. And then there is the Beinoni, somewhere in between, the intermediate. But what exactly is this Beinoni? We have to really understand, what is a tzaddik? What is a rasha? What is the righteous person? What is the wicked person? What does it mean to be in between? So the common understanding is that the tzaddik is someone who has only mitzvahs, always does the right thing. The rasha is the person who is busy doing averis, sinning all the time. And the Beinoni, the intermediate, is somewhere in between. Someone who does mitzvahs some of the time, and some of the time does averis. And that is an understanding which the Alter Rebbe will negate. The Alter Rebbe is saying that doesn't really encapsulate or capture the truth of what the Beinoni is. In fact, it doesn't even capture what a tzaddik is and what a rasha is. The Alter Rebbe tells us that the word rasha is a halachic term. The word a wicked person. There's a halachic definition for what a rasha is. And what is that definition? Anyone who has sinned, anyone who has even a single sin, even if it's a minor sin. The Alter Rebbe gives an example, even if it's bittul Torah. A person, instead of studying Torah, a person was wasting his time. That person is called a rasha. It's called a wicked person. So, if a rasha is someone who has even a single sin, then what is a Beinoni? What is the intermediate? In other words, we assume that a Beinoni is someone who has some sins and some mitzvahs, but as it turns out, a Beinoni can't have any sins, because if he has even one sin, then he's already a rasha. So what the Alter Rebbe does over here in today's Tanya, the Alter Rebbe is wants to restore to factory settings. The Alter Rebbe wants to say, okay, I need you to have a blank piece of paper. Don't make any assumptions about what a tzaddik, a Beinoni, and a rasha is. We are going to find that out over the course of the coming chapters, what exactly these are, and it's going to be an entirely different definition. Now, although I'm jumping a bit ahead of myself and a bit ahead of today's Tanya, what we're going to find out is that the Beinoni is someone who is perfect in their behavior, but is not perfect internally. It's a person who struggles internally. Person has to contend with their yetzer hara, with their animalistic self. Whereas a tzaddik is someone who's not only perfect in their behavior, but a tzaddik is also perfect in their behavior. And the goal of Tanya is that every person should have an aspiration to be a Beinoni, which means, at the very least, perfect in behavior, even if internally we can't achieve internal perfection. However, before we sign off on today's segment of Let's Talk Tanya, I want to make an interesting observation. The very first words of Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says, Tanya, we learned, Mashpiyim oisoi tehi tzaddik va'al tehi rasha, that before a soul comes down over here into this world, it is administered an oath, and that oath is tehi tzaddik. You should be a tzaddik, and you should not be a rasha, which is fascinating, because this book is the Sefer Shel Beinonim. This is the book of the struggler. And yet, the first words of Tanya are reminding us of the oath that every single one of us, our souls made before our souls came down into our bodies, in which we promise to be a tzaddik. And it would seem that there's a message over here that Alter Rebbe is telling us that yes, our aspiration in life, our expectation in life is to be a Beinoni, is to have perfection in behavior, as opposed to internal perfection. We may not achieve that. But at the same time, we also cannot neglect our striving to be a tzaddik. We also would like to accomplish internal perfection to the extent possible for us. And that's why Tanya, which is the book of the Beinonim, also will be talking about how to try to become more perfect also internally. In tomorrow's Tanya, the Alter Rebbe will give us a little better understanding about what is a tzaddik and what is a Beinoni.